We're floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you badass jet pilots, rumble. Hi, welcome to the Wingman Show. My name is Drew Brown. We hope to inspire, entertain, and learn something so we can all make this world a better place for our children. I'd like to introduce to you somebody who's my friend, my wingman, my main man, and I have a wingman watching my back, Dr. Paul Thompson. Hey, Paul, what's happening?
Oh, not much. Hello, everyone. I'm Paul Thompson, and you just heard from Mr. Drew Brown, Dark Gable. He's the American dream. He's the man, the myth, the legend, the pilot's pilot, the role model's role model, and most importantly, his royal fullness. How are you doing today, Mr. Dark Gable?
I'm doing great, and I'm glad I'm full of knowledge, Paul. I'm glad I'm full of knowledge. Well, we're going to have a great show right now. Check this out. Dr. Paul, what's up, my brother? Good to see you.
Good to see you, too, on this bright and sunny day here in the Atlanta area. It's beautiful today.
Oh, it's gorgeous. And it was gorgeous in New York, but it was cold.
How cold was it?
It was like 40. I had to wear my flight jacket and a sweatshirt, so it was pretty cold. And
okay.
I got something to tell you about that also, because it has to do with my wingman. I'm really good friends with royalty. And I didn't know if anybody knew that out there. I didn't know if you knew that. But the wingman has to do with real royalty.
Wow.
How cool is that? Wait till you hear this story.
Yeah, I bet you. I always thought you were knighted by the Queen or something like that.
Well, we'll wait to see how much knighted I was. Everybody out there, if you can hear my voice, can you do the wingman a favor and give us a review on Apple Podcasts? That would be great if you could do that. That would really help us out. So I was on my Peleton again. I woke up real early. I did my bike for 25 minutes. I ain't gonna lie. I'm telling you the truth. I put 30 minutes on, but I stopped at 25. Why? I don't know. And then we did yoga, half-hour yoga to New Jack City music, believe it or not. On Peleton, my girl Chelsea, yes, we do yoga to funky music. It's amazing.
Yeah, you're always on that Peleton. You're always on a Peleton. I don't remember the New Jack City music.
Don't dog me out.
Okay.
Remember that?
Yeah.
He did 1,000 versions of it. Well, did you go to Costco?
I did, yes. Well, I did and I didn't. Yeah, I did a couple of days ago and got some water and stuff. But I ordered some tires. I looked at the tires. One of my cars I was wondering why the steering wheel was vibrating so much. And one of the tires is like really, really, really bad. And in fact, it's so long ago that I changed them on the Mustang. I can't tell you when it was.
Well, you have so many cars, Dr. Paul. It's hard to keep track.
Yeah, obviously. The back tires are great. The front tires are borderline dangerous. So I did order my tires at Costco. It'll take about a week from now. A week from tomorrow, we'll put them on. So
yeah, you probably saved a lot of money also.
Oh yeah, I did actually.
Yeah,
I did.
Well, guess what? We need a James Bond. Remember with Russia from Love?
Yes.
Well, what's happening in Russia now is not love. And maybe James Bond needs to go in there and take out somebody because this is getting ridiculous. From Russia with love, there's no love. From Russia with bombs. This Ukraine thing, and I'm just going to say, this is bullshit. Killing people, killing innocent people for an ego is bullshit, Paul. And It's starting to really, I'm half Ukrainian. My mother, my grandparents, Bubba and Papa Jack, they're from Ukraine. They were born in Russia. And I didn't realize it was Ukraine until afterwards, but they were born near Kiev. So I'm half Ukrainian, but I'm full human being, and they are killing innocent people. And it's war crimes. This is war crimes. This is for real. It's 2022. God dang it. What the hell are we killing people for anymore? Help me, Paul.
Yeah, it's a high-tech, modern tribal warfare. That's the way it looks to me. And the scope and the scale where you've got these people that are attacking nuclear power plants.
Wow.
Which is not a good idea. Particularly the Chernobyl one, which is sealed because of what happened there. The seal they have on the radioactive waste is supposed to be good for 100 years, give or take. 100 years. although that radiation will go for several thousand.
Oh my God.
This fixes like for 100 years. And why would you shell and let something like that out? So what Ukraine's got, 15 nuclear power plants.
Isn't this the biggest one in Europe, the one they hit?
This one, yeah, they hit one yesterday. And they said, don't worry, it didn't get to the main reactor, although there is some damage to it. They were able to handle it. So you realize if that goes up, you talk about messing up all of Europe. Because when the Chernobyl thing went, I think that air drifted in different directions, but a lot of it went to the west. And you're talking about wiping out a lot of Europe.
Dr. Paul, they said that this thing is 10 times, this would be 10 times worse than Chernobyl.
10 times, yeah.
Do people understand in the world what's going on? Because I believe we can stop it now if the entire world just shut them down. Shut them down. They can't go to the Olympics. They can't go to the Paralympics. They can't play hockey. They can't box. What else can't they do? I think some of their violinists, all their symphonies, all canceled.
What if they change their name to, instead of the Russian Army Committee? I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, maybe. Well, anyway, you know what they're really doing, which I love? First of all, I should have said you know how people say, I want to grow up to be rich? I should have said, I want to grow up to be an oligarch.
Okay.
What the hell is an oligarch? You know how much money you have to have your own special name? But anyway, we're going after their yachts. We're going after their bank accounts. They're making phone calls to Putin right now. Yo, dog, I'm glad you having fun, but they just took my $40 million yacht. Stop the war.
Well, no, the one they took yesterday was, I think, a $600 or $800 million yacht. That was in France. I think it was a $600 million.
Okay, question, Dr. Paul. You think a Russian with a $600 or $800 million yacht knows Putin's phone number? Because I believe he does.
Now, he probably has a $40 million yacht too, but that's like the escape boat. That's the level of stuff. That's a lot of money.
Do you see what I'm saying, Doc? Do you understand that it's like if you know me real well, I'm your wingman, me and you are tight.
Right.
If I was doing something real bad to one of your friends, they would give you a call and say, look, I know you know Drew. You need to tell him to stop.
Yeah. Because I'd say, the Ayatollah has a price on your head. Now, speaking about that, there was a story, I think it was probably fake news, that one of the oligarchs or somebody put a bounty on Putin for $1 million. I don't think that doesn't make any sense.
Not in today's time.
No,
gotta be a lot more.
Yeah, it's like Dr. Evil, the Austin Powers movie. You know, he's going to hold the world hostage for $1 million. In the 60s. No, Dr. Evil, $100 million. No, then they make it $100 billion. And they say, okay, you know. Yeah, so I think that was a fake story. Maybe a couple of fourth graders put that out.
Well, good. I got a real story for you now.
What's that?
A U.S. District Court. This is ridiculous that they actually took time to do this. But there was a class action lawsuit against Pop-Tarts because the class action lawsuit said there wasn't enough strawberries in a Pop-Tart to call it strawberry. And guess what? Pop-Tart won. The judge said that there's not a certain amount of strawberries you have to have in a product to call it strawberry. Is this not the most ridiculous thing in the world?
Someone obviously had a lot of extra money and a lot of extra time. A lot of stuff. You know, my pet peeve, I don't eat Pop-Tarts, but sometimes on certain boxes of things, you're getting less and less and less and less, but the box is the same size.
Stays the same.
I guess it's illegal. I think it's immoral, but the interior contents get smaller and smaller, and the box is the same. It fits.
Remember those big bags of popcorn used to be this big, but it was all air?
Yeah. I guess they weigh it, and if the weigh is the same, or maybe they make the box a little thicker or something.
Dr. Paul, they're lying to us, period. They're scamming us, okay? They're trying to tell us we're buying more than we're actually getting, period.
Yes. Yeah, that's a lie.
Well, guess what else with the COVID? All our states that have high COVID rates, they had a lot of vaccines left. and they're all expiring. And we have a major stockpile of vaccines. And now, hopefully we'll hear this show for years to come. Well, today or last week, they stopped the masks thing, the CDC did. And I'll be honest with you, I'm starting to now get confused. So I asked my son, the doctor, what should I really do? And he said, do what makes you comfortable. But Dad, you probably are not going to get the virus. Mm-hmm. And if you do, God forbid, it's just not going to be that bad since you're boosted and moosted and backed and packed. So that's the reality of it. I still don't mind wearing a mask. I never did because I heard it would save my life. So what do you think, Doc, about this? One more thing. The child vaccines, they say, are not that effective. And you have knowledge about this, about nursing homes and about old age. And I'm getting ready to do that. My Katrina's mom is now 87, I believe. And it's getting to that time. Well, they said the nursing homes in America with the COVID was the most ridiculous thing in the world. And I think 20% of the people that died were from nursing homes or something like that, some number. Talk to me, Dr. Paul. Help out the people.
Help out the people. Well, as far as the masks go, I think today they've dropped the mask restrictions in Los Angeles. And I think yesterday it was in Boston schools. Kids don't have to wear them. And people aren't going too crazy. I went to my optometrist a few days ago and, got my annual checkup. When everybody has to have a mask on in there. I had mine on. And we talked about that, saying that where we live, the county we live in is a low incident zone. I'll say I say hi to Bentley there.
Moishi. No, this is Moishi. Hi, Moishi.
Moishi. Well, tell Moishi to say hi to Bentley.
Okay, we're doing a show now, Moishi. You got to go. Come on, go ahead. Bye-bye, Moishi. Sorry, everybody. If you're watching YouTube, you just saw a big black Great Dane come here and kiss me in the mouth. So
right. She have Moishi give the PSA also.
Oh, yeah. How about that? PSA right now. This is a Wingman PSA. Stop killing people, Putin. PSA. Stop killing people. It is goddamn ridiculous. Please, I implore you, and I implore the world, please stop this war. What do you think, Moishi?
Yes, Moishi agrees, which is good.
Okay, Moishi, that's it. Bye. Bye-bye. Oh, wait, I'll do this, Paul. Watch this.
Okay.
Yeah,
that always works.
Like that. Okay, now for the next one. You ready?
Yeah.
Climate change.
Okay.
We all know how bad it is. We all know that it's really, really going to get bad. You're going to give us some more details on it. But I think this is the most amazing. Everybody goes on strike. I think the London train workers went on strike for the tube, and everybody's just standing still in London. But the scientists said that they may go on strike if we don't do something about climate change. And that means ignorant people will go, yay, we don't want information anyway.
Right. I'm thinking, when they go on strike, I mean, how will you know? It's not
if they went on strike?
Yes, it's like
bad stuff will start to happen, and you'll say, how come nobody told us about this?
Well, I mean, if the sanitation men go on strike, I kind of know that. I remember those in New York. Those are showstoppers.
Oh, man. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember a couple.
Well, are you talking about a week worth of garbage in New York City is funky in the summer?
Yes, anytime. So, okay, if they go on strike and, I guess they'll take away their pocket protectors or do something. It's a good sign, but I think there's a frustration because so many people bathe themselves in ignorance. They like it. So you get an intelligent person coming and trying to say something. Sometimes folks want to kill them. So I can see where they feel, underappreciated, unloved, and probably threatened a lot too with some of these nuts out here when they hear something they don't like. So everybody loses. But the climate change, I mean, it's happening. It's happening. It's happening everywhere. It's going to increase. So you can put your head under a pillow, but you're going to wake up underwater.
There's 127 potentially irreversible changes that are going to happen to the planet if we don't do something about it. We're making fun of it. It's really serious. And it's really going to affect people, maybe not us, but it's going to affect our children and our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren. We might not even have great-grandchildren if we don't stop this.
Right. And we stopped it. Well, one of the immediate things is to your, Mr. Putin or whatever, let's not destroy let's not destroy all the nuclear power plants and let all the stuff in the air. That might be a good first step. And,
well, they're calling this an atlas of human suffering. And that's what war is, and that's what climate change is. And we as the people need to get together. And hopefully this Wingman show will inspire people to do the right thing. And, you know what to do. You know what's right and what's wrong. I truly believe God doesn't like litter bugs.
Yes. So if anybody's watching this that knows Vladimir Putin, send him a link to the show. It couldn't hurt. You're frozen. You're frozen. I see myself moving. Still says recording. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Why is this happening? I said something about Putin. Maybe that cyber stuff does work. Now
we're back.
Now you're back. I don't know what happened.
That's okay. We'll just have to splice it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So talking about technology, Dr. Paul, I'm going to tell you this little story that Moishi, out. Okay. Let's try it again.
That's right.
Dr. Paul, talking about technology, can I tell you this little story happened when we were flying at FedEx? I flew a 777, I think, into London, or
Stansted, maybe.
Stansted. Maybe. That's exactly right. I'm sorry. Thanks for
London. It's near London. It's near.
Yeah, it's not Heathrow. We flew into Stansted. We flew into Stansted, and they're very particular about your ID and your passport and everything. So this guy, I guess he had a Scottish accent, or it was really strong. But he came right up to me and said, "Kuwaiti." I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "Kuwaiti." I said, "No, I'm an American. I'm not a Kuwaiti." He said, "Kuwaiti." I said, "I'm not a Kuwaiti. I am an American." Kuwaiti. What? And the guy next to me said, "He's asking you for your crew ID." Kuwaiti.
Okay.
That's my little story about it. It was funny as hell because I started getting upset.
That's believable.
Like, Kuwaiti. I don't even know what a Kuwaiti looks like.
Yeah. Listening to the way they speak sometimes, and depending on who it is and where they're from in England, I could see that actually. Because I was in Scotland one time, just on a quick refueling thing, and they, guard company, we have a long conversation, and he's talking very pleasant. I have no idea what he's saying. It's English, but it's accented. It's kind of like it's between old European and Gullah English that you might hear in South Carolina. Talking about how they pronounce words in England sometimes. They use a lot of slang, and that can really throw you. But I remember one time I was landed in Prestwick, Scotland, getting some gas, just a fuel stop. And guy came out, we were talking, had a nice conversation. He's talking for about 5 minutes. I have no idea what he's saying. I can pick out maybe one or two words. It's English, it's accented English. It's between kind of like an old European style of English and
Cockney.
Well, no, that I understand very well. Oh. Well, it was a mixture of that. It was all kinds of stuff. And some of it was like that Gullah language that you might find with the Geechee people in South Carolina.
Oh, excuse me, Dr. Paul, I hate to say this, but you and I both lived in Memphis, and there's some parts of Memphis that we could talk to somebody, you wouldn't understand them either.
Well, the truth was,
have my beer, man.
That's true. It was true. In Memphis, it took me about 9 months or so to get conversant. In fact, I had an interpreter. A friend of mine was an interpreter. In fact, we know and he was there forever. But he said when he moved there, he didn't understand anything, and his wife's sister-in-law, his sister-in-law would interpret for him when they would go out as a group. They'd ask him things about flying and things, and he would, she would interpret, and he'd come back. It's like when they have one of those UFC fights, the guy speaks Portuguese, and oh yes, tell us about the victory, that kind of thing. But it's like that some places. Parts of Missouri are like that too. I had no idea what he was saying, but he was pleasant. He walked away, and we flew. I don't run into that too much. I can typically, pick out what I need to know just through inference. You can kind of figure stuff out, but not there. So anyway, you showed your crew ID, and the world was a happy place once again.
Yes, it was. And getting back to Memphis real quick, I have a test to find out if you've been to Memphis or not and understand. It's this one, Pat My Beer, man. And that's from a Project Pat song.
I know what that is. Yeah, I mean,
that's amazing, Pat My Beer, man.
Yeah, that's an easy one.
Go ahead, say what it was. I didn't tell you what it was.
Pass my beer, man, as opposed to pass my beer, please. It could be pass my beer, please, but please would be too obvious. Yeah.
No, it was exactly what you said, Pat My Beer, man.
Yeah. Now, a month before I got there, I would have no idea.
You had that right away. That's scary.
I'd have a crew ID. I don't know what he's saying. Because I used to, I'm checking out the grocery store. They're asking me, I have no idea what they're saying. But, after a while, you just smile and nod affirmatively, and it typically works.
Well, now I'm getting a little older, and sometimes I can't hear people, and that's what I do now anyway. Smile and nod. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
All right. This is what I want to say. The stocks are going down again, and I know you like to look at your stocks. I refuse to look at it when they're down because I know they're coming back up. But let's talk a little bit about that, because I love that we talk about finance, and I love that we try to give out some information about investing. So the truth is, when stocks go down, that would be the best time to buy stocks. When they're down, you buy small, you sell large. Yeah. You buy low, you sell high. So right now is a really good time to buy some good stocks. You have to know what they are, who they are, and if anybody wants to do it, you need to go to somebody that has knowledge in it, one of the Fidelities or Schwab's or something like that. Don't just randomly do this, because this is the truth. Some stocks are at their lowest point right now, and this is where you can make money. But also, this crypto thing, and I'm going to find out about it one day. I keep saying that, but this is really deep about crypto. Crypto is untraceable currency. Now that we've put a lot of sanctions on Russia, and they can't really deal with money because of the SWIFT system, so now they're using cryptocurrency to get around the financial knowledge of the world. So I'm still doing business with Russia, except nobody knows it because I'm using crypto. How about that one? And also on the good side, people who say they like Russia are giving Ukraine money to fight Russia through the crypto system because nobody knows where they're getting money from. What do you think, Doc?
Yeah, well, that's the thing about the crypto. They say it's kind of a circular thing used by both sides. One of the concerns was that criminals could use it and do a lot of money transfer. Obviously, that's happening. So it's kind of the good, the bad, and the ugly. Because again, people don't know Russia was been kicked out of the SWIFT systems. SWIFT was the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, which is basically. Yeah, which is, and I've used it a few times. It's basically if you transfer money to another country, just like your banks here have on your checks, you have like a routing transit number, and that routing transit number, that 9-digit number, identifies the bank. Well, the bank in the U.S. anyway. Well, internationally, that SWIFT code, each SWIFT has each bank of whatever, Bank of Brussels. They have their own code, so they know it goes to Bank of Brussels. So you use that SWIFT code and the account number, and it goes in there. So it's just another way of transferring. Basically, what they did is they cut out their way of transferring funds through the normal financial system worldwide, which would probably interrupt things. So if you can do a cryptocurrency, good luck with that. So I still don't think enough people understand it.
No, I don't think so either. But I bet you people are making money from it, and that's why it's in the news. So I'll learn it. I
Yeah.
asked little Drew, well, not little, Dr. Brown. I asked him if he knew about crypto. And when he says not really, then I know I don't need to know. Not right now, anyway.
Yeah.
Well, if you've been listening to our show out there, you heard that last week we were talking about all of Dr. Paul's Porsches on fire on a
That's
cargo
right.
ship because
Yes.
they were electric Porsches, and those battery fires are really, really explosive and very hard to put out. Well, we have updated news for you.
Yes.
That cargo ship has now sunk. But the good news is, Doc, maybe we can now get a submarine or something, go down there and pull up some Rollses and some Bentleys and some Porsches because it was full of luxury cars.
Yeah. Well, if I did that, I don't know if I'd have one. I might. Well, you probably couldn't sell it legally, but I guess you could sell it, say some water damage. Yeah. Yeah. The ship was the Felicity Ace. We talked about it last week. The Felicity Ace. They said they were towing it, and then it suddenly started to list to the right, and then just sunk. I guess they cut the mooring lines and just let it go. So it's sitting down at 3,000 meters on the ocean floor. So it's about almost 10,000 feet. So if you can get a sub down there and cut it open and get something out there, I don't know.
Can a sub go that deep?
Yeah, there's submersible subs. There's some private subs that can go down double that. I think the world record holder was some businessman that went down 35,000 feet. I don't know if that's the Marianas Trench. Went down 35,000 feet. These are these small submarines. The big Navy submarines can't go down that far.
Isn't there a crush depth?
Yeah, they advertise their depth at like 1,500 feet or so, 1,500 feet, and the crush depth I'd read is typically somewhere like double that.
But it's kind of classified too. Really.
It's classified, and so it would crush depth at 3,000. It might be 30,000 for all I know. They tell you whatever they need to tell you, but that's a lot of depth. And if it crushed, it would probably be instantaneous death. Probably not a lot of suffering, because basically, you wouldn't explode. You implode. Everything would come together and you vaporize, and that would be it. That's a pleasant thought.
I don't know if this is nice enough, but I used to say, if you gave a crackhead like 100 pounds of crack, he would just implode because he wouldn't stop until he died. It's not funny. But anyway,
okay.
I want to tell you a Wingman story.
Okay.
I said I knew royalty, and I did. I knew a prince. Matter of fact, I grew up with a prince, and his name was Gary Michael Prince, Dr. Gary Michael Prince, who I played ball with in high school, who I grew up with. Dr. Gary Michael Prince has helped so many people in his life that he's a true wingman. I don't know if you ever heard this guy named Malik Sealy. He was an NBA basketball player who died in a car accident. Well, Gary helped his family until they could get back on their feet totally. And he's helped so many New York families. And he's a big basketball guy. Him and I played basketball in high school. Mm-hmm. I went away to college, and he kind of stayed in New York, got his doctor's license. He was a Studio 54 bouncer. I could get in the Studio 54 anytime I wanted. So I was a hot shot because I knew the bouncer actually, and Princey was the bouncer at Studio 54. And then he bought a gym and put it on 54th Street. So he had a big gym named Prescriptive Fitness. And I've been with him through every step of his way, all of his career. And we're just very close. Matter of fact, he's like an uncle to my son. And he's probably closer to him than to me because I keep giving him shit. My son doesn't. Dr. Brown doesn't. They have a very good relationship. Anyway, the tragic news is that he was in a South Beach outdoor restaurant, a Hootsy Tootsie restaurant, sitting down having lunch. Two guys from New York came down to visit Princey down in Miami. They were sitting, they were having lunch. A lady in a Bentley wanted to double park and hit the gas instead of the brake and killed Dr. Gary Michael Prince, my friend. And the two people that he was with, they put him in the hospital. And I came back. I told you I was in New York. I just came back from New York from the funeral. Life is so precious, Dr. Paul. It's incredible. He was here one day and he's gone. Gone. A Bentley killed him. He busted his ass and came from Brighton Beach like me with nothing, and he made it. And he made some good money too. And I hope his family starts a foundation. I truly hope to help kids, because Dr. Gary Michael Prince wasn't great initially. He worked harder than anybody I've ever seen on the basketball court, in practice, in business. He was a hard worker. And that scholarship to go to the hardest working kid on a team, any team. It's really sad, Dr. Paul. We've been friends for 50-something years, and he's gone. But he's, when I was standing over the casket, I don't know if you know this, but my daddy told me once, he said, son, if I cut my hand off, would you love me any less? I said, no. He said, well, what part of me got to go when you love me less? He said, son, when this body goes, you can chop me up in 1,000 pieces and throw me in the Mississippi River, because if you have a funeral, I will not be attending. And honest to God, when I saw them put my daddy's body in the ground, I had no feeling, because that was not my father. And when I was standing over that casket in the ground of Dr. Gary Michael Prince, I didn't feel that sad, because my Princey wasn't in that box. My Princey is in my heart and on our hearts forever.
Yeah, I've had the same feeling. Again, sorry for your loss. That's always tough to lose anyone close to you, relative, friend, or friend that is really a relative. Really, they're all relatives, and it's hard to get over. The life can be over in a moment's notice. Because we're all out. We all drive cars. You were in an airplane, and a lot of things are safe, but some kind of stuff happens. He said he was sitting eating in a very fancy restaurant outside,
outdoor cafe.
It's like saying, it's almost like he was hit by a cruise missile.
That's correct.
It could happen. It's like, that's horrible. And it's not to impugn older people driving, because I'm an older people now myself, but I know my limitations.
No, it's an accident. Danny and Cubby and myself were at the funeral, and it was the four of us. It's now the three of us physically, but we've been friends for a very long time. And it was very hard. And Danny was really close to him. But Cubby and I were there to support Danny and his family. And I'm just saying, you know what I learned from it? I'm not going to argue anymore with my wife at all about nothing. Time is too short.
Right, because it's always little stuff when you look at it.
You know what? The answer to world peace? Be nice.
Be nice. Be nice.
Be nice. Thank you once again, Dr. Paul Thompson, my friend. Thank you for your love, your time, and that's something that we won't ever get back. I want to thank all the listeners, too. Thank you so much for doing the show, Dr. Paul. We're jamming.
Well, thank you, Mr. Drew, for inviting me on. Always good to talk to you. And ladies and gentlemen, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast or any of the podcasts. If you're looking at YouTube, they say smash the like button. Don't smash it. Just press it gently and use as a link to all your friends. You can also look at us on our website, wingmenshow.com, WINGMEN show, SHOW.com, altogether, wingmenshow.com. And we hope to see you in the future. Thanks again, Mr. Drew.
Oh, you're welcome. And we're still floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you badass jet pilots, rumble. May there be peace on earth and goodwill towards all men and women.